Hi, this is Dave Perry, and you're watching Retro Gaming Revival live.
Good evening and welcome to Retro Gaming Revival Live. I'm Triangle Face and I'm joined by the wonderful Nintendo Ollie. How are you doing, Ollie?
Very good, mate. The wonderful Nintendo Ollie. I'll take that. If we can introduce me as that forever, I'll take it.
We'll throw out different adjectives every week. And today we are joined from the virtual world. It's Rega.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
woo! Yeah, in VR chat, in an arcade as well, which I thought would be great for you guys because retro stuff and all of that. Amazing.
Yeah, it does look really cool. So I'll just duck down and have a little show. In fact, I'll put you on solo straight away. Let's do the solo layout and just show your background. Woo! There you are in an arcade.
Look at that.
Very cool. Are there any of those games playable, or is it just sort of scenery?
No, all videos, sadly, but we can go and have an explore later of that. And
I know there is some cool stuff you can do in VR chat. I've had the privilege of hanging out with you in chat a few times.
I found a book. That's fine. Slob that. And
it's good to be able to play. We'll obviously get into what you
can
do
as well.
in VR, but no, we've had some fun times with hanging out in different spaces and.
Oh yeah,
there's lots of interactive stuff you can do. So yeah, very cool stuff.
There's so much. We'll talk about it later. Definitely, we'll get to the topic. Don't worry.
We'll get into it. Before we do, let's have a look at who's in the chat. So we've got a few people saying good luck to Rega. Rulin, thanks for joining. We've got our regular Rob Taylor. Have a great show.
Hi, Rob.
Thanks, Rob, always nice to see you. We've got another person here saying Roberto saying hi, and we have. Dorbs is there in the chat.
Yay!
Nice one, Mr. Dorbs.
The one and only Dorbs.
And here we've got what looks like a smiley face there being said, and then good evening. So good evening. Oh, and here we go. We've got Gina Bells. Yes, what's happening? What?
Oh my god!
What was for dinner? Today I had shepherd's pie. Today my wife cooked it, and it was feckin' lush.
What?
I did. I misspoke. My wife made mine as well. She made a chili, so we had a chili tonight.
Top stuff.
Nice. Yeah. Fish and chips, mate. Fish and chips.
Chips is always
good. Nice and easy. Chuck it in the oven. Boom, done.
We've also got Ryan saying hi in the chat. So I can't be there tonight. Top man.
No worries, Ryan. You legend.
We smashed it. So yeah, thanks very much everyone for joining. If you've got any questions, chuck them in the chat, and we'll try and pop your questions up on screen as we go and ask. And we'll join in some fun. So before we get started as well, we've got Dorbs is in the chat, Ryan is in the chat, but where is Blunners? We don't know. If anyone has seen him, drop that number a text, and perhaps Dorbs can put in the chat if he gets any messages.
He's not outside, I can tell you that. I don't see him out there.
He could be in a VR. Well, he could be somewhere.
He could be. He might just all of a sudden appear.
That would be slightly terrifying.
Just walks along in your arcade.
I'd be like, how did you get in here?
Right. Well, yeah. Do let us know if you've seen Blunners, because we are starting to get a bit worried about where he could be. Thanks very much for joining us, Rega. It's been a long time coming. We talked about this a while ago. So thank you for your patience in us getting organised.
Thanks for having me on here. It's also been looking forward to it. And obviously, I'm a big fan of you guys. So it's like,
I was about to say thank you for being a supporter of the show for a long time. We're always seeing you in the chat. So Ryan saying hi. It's always nice to see you in the chat watching. Thanks for coming on. So we'll get started with our first question that we ask our guests. What are your early gaming memories? What got you into gaming
Oh, let me think. So the sort of very, very first console I got was the Master System 2.
Ooh.
And it was the one that had Alex the Kid built in. If you remember playing that Nintendo Ollie.
Yes,
And how difficult that game was. Oh my god.
Hard as balls, mate. It is
Yeah.
a difficult game.
Which was the one where you played rock, paper, scissors? Was that one? Or was that a different one?
Alex the Kid. Yep.
That's I know there was a few different ones, but there was one I can't remember which. It was Alex Kidd something World. It might have been Alex Kidd World. I don't know. But yeah, I can remember renting it. There's one where you had to do like the rock, paper, scissors to get through.
That was the first boss battle. Yeah, you had to do rock, paper, scissors, and if you failed it, you got turned into a burger.
As you do,
which happened with the enemy as well. When you beat them, you're like, "Oh, I'm just going to turn into a burger," and then you just eat the burger at the end, and then you go to the next level. And I was like, "Okay, that's
amazing.
Slightly terrifying, but okay."
Because the one I played, a bell would drop down like a weight, and then you'd like walk around with squashed feet back and forth underneath the weight.
Yeah, there is two versions of the game.
Yeah, I think the one I had, it was you would do rock, paper, scissors quite regularly. There's regular intervals throughout the game, and then you pick up the items like the pogo stick and the helicopter and things to get around. Yeah, no, good games.
And the motorbike. I remember getting the motorbike on the second level, and if you got that, you cut through so much of the level. Just like jump over all the gaps and everything. It's like, easy mode.
Where did you go from there then? So when you started off with Master System, did you stick with Sega and go from there to the Mega Drive? Or did you
no, I went to Nintendo. My dad got me a SNES. And then I think the first game he got me on that was Mario All-Stars. And that was amazing because you could save it. You could save the game. It was so good. It's like, I'll pick that Mario. I'll play Mario 3 today. I can save it and go back to it and play another Mario game.
I still
I thought that was
today. Like I could play that, tomorrow. Like I'll always pick up Mario All Stars. If I've got like any retro Pi device, and be like, play a bit of Mario. It's comforting game, isn't it? To go back to because you know it so well. You think you can always go back to Mario.
It's just one of those games, great. And then I got Starwing, or also called Star Fox in America.
Yep.
And that blew me away because it was the first game like proper 3D graphics and stuff, and you're just like, I can't get any better than this. Whoa, how have they done that? Wow. Just very hard game, but amazing.
It was a bit of a game changer, wasn't it, really? When I can remember when that first came out and the adverts for it, and everyone was like,
They had a massive advertisement campaign. It was ridiculous.
I'm sure in the red box there, that's all my old gaming magazines, but like the really old ones from like the NES and Super Nintendo era. And there is one in there. I'll see if we can pull it out later on, just because it does link to Star Fox, and the cover was the whole like FX chip and just really
they only used it. They only used it in 2 games, though, Ollie. They used it in like Star Fox, and then they used it in another stunt racing game, I think it was.
Yes, Stunt Race FX.
And that was it. And I was like, what? Come on, guys! You could just do so much with it.
Yeah, it was absolutely bananas. And there's another, I'm sure I've got another one in there that talks about Star Fox 2, that legendary game that didn't come out until you...
I think it came out on Switch, didn't it? Did they release the ROM of it? Yeah.
It came on the Super Nintendo
Someone did make a hacked ROM of it years ago. I remember getting it, and they translated it from Japanese to English, and they hacked the ROM together and finished the game.
Yeah.
So I played it on an emulator years ago, and it was really like the idea was great, but obviously they abandoned it and then made Lilac Wars and stuff at 64. So a lot of the ideas from that were ported into it, like the Landmaster tank, the all range mode, all that sort of stuff. So you can see where the inspiration came from. It was it was absolutely
you
awesome.
Had another one that was a Star Fox game, which was like had a platforming element, but in between the levels you would have like segments where you fly.
Star Fox Adventures.
Yeah,
I never picked that one up. I never picked it up. I heard it was really good.
I played a bit, but I never had a GameCube. But one of my mates had a GameCube, and he had that game. I'd go around and play it a bit, but I didn't play the whole campaign on my own. I just dabbled in every now. I dipped in and out while he was playing it.
Yeah.
If I went around there and he's like, he'd be on a bit, and we'd play a little bit of it together, but I didn't play the whole game.
If Blunners appears later on from his Blun watch, I'm sure it is something that he will probably have a copy of. That's normally the sort of thing that he's bang into.
Yeah, Blanus is like everything. Like seriously, you just have to just
Yeah.
ask him, and he'd
That's
be
what
like,
we were
"Oh,
saying.
pull it off the shelf," and you're like, "What? Oh, yeah, I got that."
That's what we were saying before we went live. That he's got his complete amiibo collection, which I think is
I
really
couldn't believe
impressive.
that. That's just mad.
Yeah,
Absolutely
Seems
mad.
effective with all the shelves, how we've got that display. The only problem is now, if they bring out a new amiibo, he has to get it to maintain.
Oh no, he's
All of them
hooked
now,
in the ecosystem now, isn't he?
he
If
is.
they bring out another one, he's going to have to get it because
It
otherwise
is.
he's not
Yeah.
going to be able to say he's got all
Yeah.
more.
And it's something I've said to him for a while now. I'm threatening to go around and actually shoot a video of it and like do like a nice collection video and sort of highlight some of the rare ones because he's got all the
Yeah,
Monster
yeah.
Hunter ones as well from Japan. And it's like,
Oh,
oh, man,
what?
I think we should highlight this. I think this needs to be a video.
He needs to have a little thing called Blunner's collection, and he needs
Yeah.
to show little bits and bobs of like his collection and that,
He's got
and then
steps,
talk
hasn't he?
about it, like where he got it from and where, you know, just things like that. Come on, giving him ideas already. I'm not even there.
Speaking of, you mentioned a bit of a tangent, but you mentioned that he's got the Monster Hunter ones. Have either of you guys played Monster Hunter Rise yet?
Oh no, I haven't. No, I think I've
started
got a
playing
couple of
it.
friends who have, and it's good.
Yeah, I've got a few friends on it already, so I started playing it the other day, and it's pretty good.
Mhm.
It's very, very similar. If you play Monster Hunter World, it's very similar to that. There's a few little features which are different, but I've gone back to, I play with the Charge Blade was my weapon of choice in Monster Hunter World, so I've stuck with that. So learning
Nice.
that weapon set at the moment there. Quite a fun game, Monster Hunter, but it takes a while to get into. Like the intro is not overly welcoming to new fans if you're going to start playing the game. I
Right.
think the first hour is like just talking to people and reading tutorials, as opposed to being like, oh, just chuck them in the deep end, fight a monster, and then we'll worry about how all the mechanics work later. Instead, it's just, oh, this is how the item system works. This is why you need to eat stuff. This is what you do over here. It's like you have to just spare with it until you actually finally get to a point where you get to run around and fight monsters. So it takes a lot of
Like, it
patience.
can't be as bad as EVE Online's tutorial, Tim. That used to take 2 hours to do.
Jeez. So I get having tutorials, but really, I think the best way to start a game is throw you in the deep end, fight some enemies, like do a thing, and then go, right, now we're going to take a step back and explain the game a little bit. If I start playing a game and I don't immediately get to play, I have to watch a cutscene or read tutorials.
Yeah.
That puts me off quite a lot, I think, to begin with. But because I'm familiar with Monster Hunter, I thought I'd better.
I think the best developers who did tutorials were Valve. Because if you play like Half-Life and stuff, the way they teach you things, it's done with the game mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have a puzzle for like a seesaw puzzle, and you're like, oh, okay, I pick up these blocks, I move these blocks, but then that's teaching you like the mechanics of how the physics engine works. And then later on, you'll be like, oh, I need to get something that's in a box somewhere. Oh, I got these bricks. Hang on a minute. If I put these bricks here, it will lower this box down because I did that earlier. So little things like that.
Quick question for you, because I'm just chucking up some
Yes.
comments on the screen. We've got a few people saying, first time here. We've got Mr. Manic Drake tonight. Thanks for joining. Can you see that?
Nice. Yes.
Can you see the comments? You can. So what do you see?
I can't see the chat. What I see is your window with you, and when you bring up the comments, I see that, but I don't see the chat.
So you wouldn't see the chat on the side of what here, but if I pop it up on the screen,
Yes.
then you can see that. So you can see us. Okay.
Yep. Because I can see myself, obviously. So that is fine.
Yeah.
This is absolutely
obviously
insane because we'll get to that. Well, I'm trying to restrain myself.
Well, I'm using a program called OCR, I think, or OSC, I think it is. So it allows me to view my desktop when I'm in VR.
Yeah.
So I have actual keyboard in front of me, so I can interact with my computer if I want to. And my that's a separate program. Obviously, I had to buy it on Steam, but it's really useful if someone messages you, but someone messages me on Telegram, I can pull it up and go and then reply to them and stuff like that, and then get rid of it.
Amazing.
I know the. Sorry, go on, Ollie.
No, I was going to say I know the VR element is coming. It's in one of the conversations we want to get to. So I'm trying to restrain myself because
you're fascinated, aren't you? You're really
it's
like,
cool,
wow.
man. We'll get to it later. I'll explain my experience with VR.
Have you actually got a? You haven't got an Oculus, have you, or anything?
My son has. My son's got an Oculus 2. But trying to find time when he's sort of in and I'm not knackered and wanting to play my own games where I can actually have like a proper go on it is pretty difficult. So my only experience with VR really has been PlayStation VR, which is fine. Like it's good, but it's definitely the budget end of VR. I know the new one.
It's very clunky where you had to connect so many things up to get it to work. When someone showed me, I was like, how much?
VR is quite good for console games, but happen to be VR. Whereas like
Yes.
Oculus Quest stuff is a lot more like VR experiences. Like you've got a lot more movement-based things where you need to pick things up with your hand and interact with stuff. And like in terms of social element, VR chat world is great. You're actually like going around and talking to people. Like when I went around, the first time I hung out with Rega in VR, he was talking and I was like, "Oh, I think there's something wrong with your microphone. I can barely hear you." And he goes, "Oh no, it's because I'm outside." And I was like, "What?" And I walked outside of this building and he was on this beach. And I walked over to him. I was like, "Oh, I can hear you now." And it's just because of the distance. And just having that in there just makes it really cool. You can just pick stuff up and interact with things. And you can find rooms where you can watch videos in the room and play pool. And
you can play pool in VR. You can watch video. But we're not at that segment yet. Not yet.
We'll come back.
We'll come back to VR. There's so many questions.
Avatar in VR, and it just looks really cool. So it's really hard not to keep coming back to that. But we'll come back to it. Let's go back to the our normal things of do you have a favorite game and a favorite console?
God. Favorite game. Well, favorite game is a game I played through my whole entire college on my PC, and it was a space game. And I'm massively into space games and stuff. But this one obviously involved money, so credits and things like that, and a whole entire economy where you could build your own factories and supply other parts of the world with goods and products and stuff to make your own empire in space pretty much and run it. And it was called Extension, and I clocked up about 4 days of in-game time playing that to death. But it's one of those games that you can just put on and it's just really relaxing. Like, there might not be any combat. You can just go fly around and interact with the world and set up your trading empire and go, how can I make more money? All of the credits. So that series is still going. They've got up to number 4 now. And that's absolutely fantastic. I need to get into it, but it's a very, very big time sink.
So
you will go down the rabbit hole.
Generating cryptocurrency and stuff.
No,
I've heard a lot of
it's nothing to do with crypto.
Where, like, you get
nothing to do with crypto, thank goodness.
Yeah, they didn't go through that. Because I heard a lot of games that's quite similar. It's like people would spend ages in the game, but they would actually build up cryptocurrencies playing it. And there's people that actually
I think crypto is one of those things. This is my opinion. I think it's pretty much on the way down. So a lot of devs are abandoning ship from it because it just didn't. It wasn't the all singing and dancing thing people thought it would be. So
no, I mean, it did have its day though. It had a moment where like a lot of people.
It did really well.
It's really being pushed now that it's actually not a good investment anymore. But it's like, you should buy loads of crypto. It's like, actually, no, you shouldn't anymore.
No.
I remember reading an article about something which was some of the biggest purchases ever made in games. And I'm not familiar with the game, so I might get some details of this wrong. There's a game where you could purchase land. And somebody had spent an obscene amount of money. I don't know how much they spent on it, but they bought a planet. And if any trades happened on your land, you get like a cut. So you get a percentage cut. We're talking like some real world money could be spent. So I presume there's like a cryptocurrency in the game, which you could buy with real money, but you could exchange it and stuff. This person, I don't know how much they spent, but it was like a few hundred grand kind of thing, like a silly amount of money to spend in game. And they worked out that it would probably take them about 10 years to break even.
That's if it didn't crash, like as in
this game still be running in 10 years. But if it got to that point and the game was still going and he's still on that planet, that would just be passive income pouring in, and he would just be making money for owning a. Well,
there's a friend of mine's roommate. Wow. He makes models and assets for Second Life, and people buy that in Second Life, and that's his passive income. Because people are constantly buying stuff, yes, it might be Earth 2. It might be Earth 2. Yeah, it probably is. I watched some videos on it and I cringed massively, Tim.
Yeah.
Don't touch it with a barge pole.
That sort of stuff. Yeah.
Don't even go there. No.
So then, favorite console? Could you pick a favorite console?
That's a toughie. That is. I've got to try and think, because I did have a PlayStation, but I didn't get on with that greatly. It was good, but I had a PC at the time as well, so I had that advantage of having 3D accelerated graphics. So I was like, my PC's better than the PlayStation, but the gameplay's there. So,
I'll let you.
I think it'd be my SNES, to be honest, because that's what really got me. Yeah, because it had all the games I loved on it. You know, obviously Mario and Star Fox and that. And I even got the old Wing Commander game for the SNES. And I had it on the PC and I played the SNES version, and it was a very good port as well. Considering how limited the hardware was, they did a really good job of porting it across, and it was still playable and fun.
That Super Nintendo is just a real, certainly for me, it's a real magical period of gaming.
Yeah.
That 16-bit era, there's just something so special about it. That jump from NES, Master System, 8-bit gaming to Mega Drive.
It's
and
the
Super
whole
Nintendo.
art style as well, isn't it? Like the art style of the games just look really good, and the way they've done it, you can go back and play them today, and it doesn't look like it's dated.
No, it's become. I think Tim said this on a few streams ago. It's actually become its own art style now, hasn't it? 16-bit. That graphic, and it's all just become its own thing, you know, with games like Hunt Down and Blazing Chrome and all these really cool platformer games that just look like they could have been on the Super Nintendo. It's I love it. I do love it when people suggest that console. It's such a magical period for me.
I'm quite enjoying the Indie Heroes. Indie Heroes 2 cart came out this week, didn't it? So a few of us picked up.
Nice.
And that's kind of got that, you know, retro style modern games. Like they're games that were made like within the last few years, but they look like, you know, a lot of them NES, I suppose, NES games rather than SNES.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, really good. Again, it's an art style. It looks like a retro game, but it is actually something that's recently been made. So.
It's what I like when you can find a game that has an art style. Like I did play Guild Wars 2 years ago, the MMO, and you can go back and play that now, even though it's like, I don't know, 10 years old maybe. It doesn't look dated because it's done in such an art style, you know, like cell shaded stuff. It doesn't make it look dated. And I think that's the way forward with gaming. If you have a certain art style, it doesn't matter how old your game is, it will still look good.
I was just about to check in on Blumwatch to see if we heard any news before we went into our next topic, but here he is.
Hey, Butters!
Hey, I made it.
He's here.
Survived.
Right?
He's
nice.
here. And just,
I think we do need. Go on, Ollie.
I was going to say, just because Dorbs isn't here to make you do it, you got to apologise to Rega. Here we are. It's the new part of the show.
Sorry, Rega, I'm late.
That's all right, Blanners. I'll let you off this time because you're my mate.
I've been out in the cold.
Oh, blimey.
Nice and warm, safe back in the cupboard. Right.
Blunder's awesome cupboard of amazing. Does it say cave keep out there as well? That's so good.
My wife bought me.
That's amazing. That's so good.
I haven't put it up yet. It's just chucked on the
I
side.
like that you've got shelves as well now, Blanners, and you've got all your games on there and posters and stuff. You've done a really good job, mate. It's looking really good.
Yeah, thank you. It's taken me long enough, but yeah,
getting there. Do have to ask, just because it came up as a topic earlier, have you got a copy of Star Fox Adventure on the GameCube?
Yes, I have.
There we are. I told you.
Yeah,
told you. Someone was going to have it.
I said Blanners has everything. You just ask him, it's on his shelf that he's going to find it.
He's like the poster.
Look at that.
There it is.
Oh, yeah, this
beautiful.
This is a day one as well. I remember.
What? Blanners, you legend.
Box complete.
Hey, it's Ali.
Ali.
Yes. I've got where is it? Got a quick question. So, what do you think of Shovel Knight? I haven't actually played Shovel Knight.
I've not played it. I need to get a copy of it. It looks really good.
Yeah, that is very much in line with what we were talking about. Like
the art style is really good. I'll have to look at it. Another good game that's got a very good art style is the Ori series. If you've not played that,
yes,
the Ori and the Will of the Wisp.
Ori and the Blind Forest and the Will of the Wisp. Yeah. You will need a box of tissues while you play that. It will make you cry a lot.
Emotional journey.
Oh, God, it is. It's probably one of the best platformers I played, and also probably one of the most frustrating platformers as well at the same time.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Loving your rainbow wings.
Woo.
So, we brought you on as well to talk about your YouTube channel. So you've got Rega Gaming. So what got you kind of started on that? And
blimey, how it's changed.
Yeah.
Originally, this is going back for about eight or so years. It was originally just a gaming channel where I did a lot of Let's Play stuff. So I got involved with doing Let's Plays a lot, just random little games and stuff for fun. Then I went to Twitch and I started playing Elite Dangerous quite a lot. I became part of that community quite a bit. It also leads into me getting to VR, which I can explain that later.
Yes, we will get to that.
That will segue into it perfectly later. So then I took a break from YouTube for quite a few years because I didn't really have the time or energy to do it. And I was like, I need to do something new. So let's play the rainbow.
It feels like you should.
So then I thought, I need to do something new. I need to revive the channel again. I was looking through Twitter, and there's a guy called Copper Tom who does VR chat as well, and he started doing little clips of world reviews and stuff. And I was like, oh, you know what? I said, I can probably do that. And I thought, I'll give it a go. And I had no idea how to do anything. Did a bit of Googling, found out he had a tutorial on his YouTube how to set the cameras up and all sorts of stuff in VR. So I followed that. And then from there, I just did my first episode and just kept going. And it's probably been the longest project I've ever had running, actually. So I think I'm 38, episode 37 or 38. I think I'm on or something like that now.
It's very
What's your process then for doing it all? She talked a little bit briefly about the software you use. And so how do you set up like your virtual camera within VR? And get it all done?
VR chat has a built-in camera system where you can literally bring up the camera with a menu and you can see it. Obviously, I can't grab and move it at the moment. But you'll see it and you'll set it up. Normally, you can set it as take pictures. You can literally use like a photo camera. You can just point and shoot at stuff. There's a drone camera where you can zoom it out and take photos. So then there's a mode where you turn it into streaming mode. So then that allows it to stream what's coming on the camera. So what you do from that is obviously with OBS. Yes, I did. Yes, there was an episode where I was driving around a Mario Kart circuit. Yeah. There's plenty of those, trust me. So you use OBS to obviously capture the stream camera for recording and stuff. So you can set up the camera and then it will record you and stuff like that. So you can do the same like I've done now. So I've turned this into a virtual webcam at the moment. That's why you can see me in VR. So that's how that works.
What is your favourite VR world you've actually been to?
Oh, blimey. I keep going back to Test Pilot quite a lot, where you get to fly fighter jets. Mm-hmm. And that's really good fun. So we end up doing dogfighting and stuff like that. It's quite an old one, that is. But yeah, there is a Mario Kart world. There's quite a few of them, actually. I think there's a Rainbow Road track I need to check out as well at some point. And I think that's based on the N64 one. So I'm going to give that a whirl. So
I think you've got a picture here. Is this the...
Yeah, that's Test Pilot. Yeah. Yes, Pilot. That's the one.
Yeah.
And then you get to fly the fighter jets.
You got playing Uno.
That's Uno. Yeah.
And then you've got
Cards Against Humanity.
Cards Against Humanity.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was one of those nights. That was brilliant. Yeah, Vigilante Justice won on that one. That's what everyone picked. Gumball World. That was a puzzle map where you all had to work together to solve puzzles. So you had to collect 3 energy crystals to put in the top of the gumball, but they were in like a tube, and you weren't allowed to touch the sides. So you grab it and you move it, and at certain points you'd have obstacles to move and that. So you got to one point where I was too tall as a character, but my friend Rog, who's the little red guy, he's short. He's like half my height. So I'd be like, grab it, and he'd grab it and move it along. And then someone else would grab it and move it along, and then so yeah, you'd solve this puzzle, and then it'd have a really cool effect at the end of it. So I was like, oh, we got this cube. What do we do with this cube? And you put it in the ground, and a giant pyramid like came out the ground, literally raised up out of the ground, and we were like, what's going on? And then it took us on like some sort of psychedelic trip on like a route with all this stuff going past, the music and everything, and it was just like mind blowing. It's the sort of stuff you can have in VR, just the experiences. There's stuff like that. It's just like
there's so much content. I mean, just VR chat alone, there's just so much content that people have made themselves. And John, it's like when we did the one where there's actually like playlists of like episodes of old cartoons that someone had set up. So you actually just go in there and play. What was it we had on? We had like Cow and Chicken or something. It was like
Cow and Chicken, and then we played The Simpsons, and
then you can walk around the house and then play pool, and the big TV's on with that. So you can actually sort of hang out in a.
It's mad though, because I always find like, what's the longest you can stay in VR for? Because obviously I've got it.
I found a magazine. if I can find where my camera is. Where's my camera gone? Oh, I've gone too far. Oh, no, grab the
It's all
camera.
like
Hang on.
inside your brain, then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found a
Look at
magazine.
that. Mean Machine magazine. Look at that. Mean Machine Sega. Look at that. That's for Ali Ali there, right there. That is a piece of Ali Ali right there. Look at that. That's awesome.
Over there. It's fine.
Yeah, did you said you about was there like a Blockbuster thing in there? Shall I put you full screen again?
Yeah, there's a Blockbuster place. If I can give me one moment.
Thing around, yeah.
I need to sort my camera out. See if I go. We go to Anchor default. So it should follow me if I go for a walk.
Okay, yeah.
Let's go. We're going to go for a run. We're going to run outside.
Oh my god!
In the rain. Oh, it's raining. Bloody raining.
This is insane.
It's like an American parking lot, isn't it?
There you go.
Now you're in a Blockbuster.
Oh my god! Look at that.
That's amazing.
The Reanimator poster in the background as well. That is amazing.
Hang on, I need to grab out of the camera what I can do.
Poster. Yeah.
Let's go and have an explore, shall we? Let me set this.
Faulty Towers. Yeah.
Complete Faulty Towers. That's my favourite comedy skits of all time.
Can you able to grab them?
Not included.
No, I can't grab them sadly.
Still there, like backgrounds.
Yeah, I need to probably play around with that. So
as well. You helped me get set up with my virtual room that I've shown on the channel before, didn't you? Help me up with the EMU VR.
There we go. We're gonna have a. If I turn on, there's some options I need to turn on.
Total Recall. Hellraiser
as well.
There we go. Put smoothing on.
Someone's put a lot of effort into this. Robocop 2. Look at that.
Amazing.
It's also playing music. I don't know if you can hear that in the background or not.
No, you can't actually hear the music on here.
That's a good thing.
Probably a good thing. We don't have a copyright strike, do we?
Does anybody want any ice cream?
Oh, is you like an ice cream thing?
Yeah,
that's great. Isn't it? I think it was you that told me about this one. There was a site, place we could go because obviously you can go to ones where there's lots of like other people there, right? And you can just meet people in VR, and you can go private or you can go public and meet people. And they actually have. There's a nightclub where it's a copy of an actual nightclub in London, and then people in the virtual world, there's a camera that then has a screen which is a live feed to the nightclub, and in the nightclub there's a live feed to the VR chat, and then people in VR can see the nightclub and the nightclub can see VR. I think that's crazy. That's like,
wow. That is about as meta as it gets, isn't it?
Yeah.
They do that at one of the big fur cons. They do that. They have they call it the portal, and they had one guy in VR chat with full body doing press ups, and then a guy in the real world doing press ups, and they did a competition. That's the and it was just I have to find it on YouTube at some point, or Twitter. There's a DDR machine as well. Yeah,
this is insane.
Yeah,
well, I mean, we've moved to the VR portion.
Justice, does it?
No.
You're seeing it like this.
Yeah, you don't see it.
It's actually like you're there. Do you know what I mean? It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So I just love going in the VR games room that I've now got set up because all the games in there are playable. Just going on playing like N64 and SNES and things like that. But I think I spend more time customizing the space than I do actually just sat playing games because the setting it all up is just quite fun. Like going and changing your posters and your scenery and things like that. I found really fun to
Exactly. Here we go. I had to move my cameras around and stuff, and my monitors and all sorts of stuff.
I mean, we've moved into the VR portion of the chat now, haven't we? Really, it's
pretty much. Yeah,
the doors open, the floodgates have now opened.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. So ask away, Ollie. You've got loads of questions, I bet, haven't you?
Like I said, it might be similar for Blunders as well. No, because Blunders has got an Oculus. So like I said earlier, my experience with VR has basically been PlayStation VR, which is fine. I enjoy it for what it is. I didn't pay a great deal of money for it when it came out. It was on Black Friday sales and stuff. So I feel like I've gotten my money's worth out of it. But you see what you could do with this, and you just think it's another fucking level. So all these like VR rooms, and the fact that there's this here, you go outside, there's the Blockbuster Video down the road. This is all built by people, or is this pre sort of rendered?
This is built. They build it all in Unity. If you know the engine, and the same with the avatars. These are all built. This is all custom built. This is custom made myself. It's custom made. So I got that commissioned.
Yeah.
So it's all built, and then they upload it, and then you can visit them. And people are probably asking, how do I find these worlds? Well, normally it's either Twitter, because sometimes people post on Twitter what they've done and things like that. It can either be word of mouth from a friend, or even in VR chat itself, it has a section where you can find new worlds and stuff, and it will have like a featured world and things like that. So that's how I normally find these. But a lot of these I find through friends, because I do a Friday night meetup, like the pictures I showed you, where I do my Friday night meetups. So we will meet up every Friday and we do different worlds and gaming and stuff like that. So yeah, it's all good fun.
Excellent.
Yeah, very cool. Got a few questions actually I was going to show up from our start.
Yeah.
So Ryan's actually, if I get an Oculus, how easy it's to do all these cool things on rubbish with computers? So how easy would you say it is to actually get?
Quite. Do you know what? Getting it set up to the PC isn't too difficult. Doing it with the cable or AirLink is the two easiest options to do it. It's all done by installing the Oculus software on the PC, and then once that's done, you go into the Oculus unit itself, and then there's an option you select, and then it creates a virtual desktop, and then you're on the PC desktop. Then from there, you just run Steam VR, and it picks everything up, just works. Steam VR just picks up your headset and everything. Boom. Don't need to configure anything.
Yeah, I think because you helped set up mine, and I think if it wasn't for the fact that we had that issue with the laptop GPU wasn't fit for purpose, and then we had to send it back and get a new laptop. So if it wasn't for that, it actually would have been fairly easy to set up, I think. But yeah, we had a few problems.
Yeah, the only downside is it can be quite demanding on the computer. So I used to have a 1660 graphics card. I've gone up one generation now, and that's helped me quite a lot on my filming and stuff.
Yeah, I think that you can do a test, didn't you? We did one before. You can actually do it on VR, on Steam VR. There's options there to run the like spec check, and it will tell you if your laptop can actually run VR or not before you go off and buy any other kit.
Because it's technically rendering double everything, because you have two images of everything, but you don't see that with your eyes. That's why it's so demanding. That's how it creates the depth. It has double everything, but your eyes don't see that at all. It's really clever how they've managed to do it. So, Blanners, have you got some questions for me, Blanners?
No, I'm just listening.
Because see your
entry level. So I've done like I did do PlayStation VR when it first came out, and I've got an Oculus, and I just find the feel of not having all them cables. Oculus that's what I really quite enjoy. But like you're saying, having a demanding PC, like you say, because it's having to do two images. I don't think that's going to cost a bit, isn't it? First,
well, it depends. You can get some stuff in the used market these days, with some people selling their machines quite cheap, which will work fine for VR. You just got to find the right balance of what you need. So the used market's the place to go.
Games wise as well, that you put me on to one set, and I found another myself of bundles of VR games, and because I'd only just got Steam VR access before I was just using Oculus, there are some sets which are like 250 quid's worth of VR games.
You managed to get really good bundles.
Yeah, well, I didn't have any of those because I didn't have access to that library yet, so I didn't have any repeats. So it's like that looks like an absolute.
There is Steam do that what they call the Next Fest, where they do demos. There is a VR one due next. I found out today, so there'll be like 10 demos on there to try out and that. So I recommend keeping an eye out for that. Definitely.
Yeah. We've got a few questions. We could all kind of answer this one, which is VR the next big thing? Let's go around to what everyone's thoughts are. So I'm going to start from the top of the screen down. So Ollie, what do you think VR is the next big thing?
Do you know? I don't know if it's the next big thing, but I think it's definitely here to stay. Now, do you remember back when we'd watch episodes of Games Master and they'd show you like the latest VR technology and
oh my god,
enormous,
clunky headset,
giant headset, and the motion was just these polygon things that were empty, and it was all just bollocks. But we looked at it and we're like, oh wow,
it's just like it's amazing. Wow.
Exactly. So I think eventually we could get to something that's sort of in the vein of Ready Player One.
We are very close to that, Ollie. There's a lot of tech I've seen at CES that's nearly there with it.
That for me is that if that's where it ends up, will it transform everyone's gaming experience? No, because I don't think everybody really enjoys it. I think
not everything is
everyone.
No, I think
It's not going to. It's not going to
passive.
replace anything. It's going to complement things because
Exactly.
it's a different experience. You can't really compare sitting down with a controller in your hand and playing on a console on your TV to playing something in VR. I think VR in a way takes a bit more effort. You have to kind of like psych yourself up to do it, especially if you're playing a game of motion where you stood up and moving around. If I'm feeling tired, it's like, I'll play a game for a bit. I might want to chuck on a game that I can just play for like an hour or so and just relax. But VR is not like a relaxing gaming experience. Really. It's a lot more, high energy, isn't it? It's a lot more adrenaline fueled.
So yeah, I think it's here to stay. I think it's great. I think it's going to become another option.
Yeah, well said. What
Get behind the bar.
What are your
Mix the cocktail?
Well, yeah, for me, I would love for it to be the next big thing. You think the Virtual Boy that came out after the Super Nintendo back in the 90s, so before the N64. So Nintendo were trying this back in like the 90s. It's mental to think that, and that was just red and black. But like the progression is unbelievable because you are fully immersed in it. It's like you're saying. I think it does take a lot more effort, but you just can't. It's really hard to explain because it is fully. I wouldn't say it's the next big thing yet. I think once it's dirt cheap, and you can get certain games that you can play, and like you say, Ready Player One. I think that's more of 10 years down the line kind of thing. But it's very like I think the Oculus is such a good base entry level. Because it was
that has boosted it a lot. That has boosted it a lot of planners. Yeah, that's really helped.
I think the price point is what really helped. And like, do you know what I mean? I managed to blag it with my wife because I was like, "Oh yeah, me and my son want this for Christmas," and that's how we got ours. So without whinging about it too much, but yeah, so fingers crossed. It just goes up from there, really.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Tim? What do you think? Oh, what are you going to do for me? Go for me next.
Yeah. Go on, Tim. What do you reckon?
I think you guys have put it really well, actually. It's here to stay, and it's another option for people. And I think it's just going to keep getting better. Like, I'm already really impressed with how good it is now. It's like the other day, I spent the day playing a new VR game that I got, which is like a wizard game. So you kind of use the motion controls, and it's like a first-person shooter, but you actually use motions to cast spells. So if you put your hand with your palm down, and then using the grip button, turn your hand over, you'd cast a fireball, and then you'd throw it. And things like that. So there's all these cool little motions you have to do to cast the spells and things like that. And I can remember just playing that thinking, I can't believe I'm playing this in my lounge on like home console hardware. Like that feels to me like the kind of thing that in the past I would think, oh, I'd probably have to like travel up to London and pay a whole bunch of money to be allowed in a centre who's got all the kits. Like, no, this is like in my house and I can just put a headset on and have that experience. And it's just crazy how far along it's come. Like, you're referring to the stuff we used to see on Games Master, like the really pixelated huge headsets to what we've got now. It's just really impressive. And the only other thing there is I'm going to bring up this other question on that is the motion sickness. And I think that's one of the biggest drawbacks. I personally do not get any motion sickness at all. So I consider myself really lucky.
Used to.
I never did. It just I had one game actually. It was a game that didn't have the best graphics. I can't remember what it's called now. I think it's called The Assembly. And it's like a kind of a puzzle solving mystery game. And in that, to solve some of the puzzles, you had to like read people's emails. So you'd be in this virtual room and you go open up the PC and read these emails. And playing that a bit, I did get a little bit sort of seasickness on it because the graphics weren't great and it made me feel a bit funny after a while. But other than that, I've never had a problem. And I can play VR for a few hours and not get sickness. But I know other people have said, "Oh, check this out. It's really cool." They put the headset on, they go, "Nope," and they just take it off straight away.
It takes a while for me. You see there's a game, is it called Rigs? PlayStation 1?
Yeah, I loved Rigs.
Oh, yeah. So that was the first bit where I just run, and I'm running out, and it dropped, and my stomach nearly came out my throat.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I'll grab the one game that took my breath, like to the point where I genuinely went, but I had to take a breath because I thought I'm falling. Grab it.
The thing is, it's annoying because I really enjoy it, and I'm like starting. I was playing the other day, Super Lucky's Tale, and it's really good. It's like a good platformer. You're playing it, and then because you're like flying, you're going with like you're there watching it as you're playing it, I don't know.
Yeah.
After a while, then started feeling a bit sick, and I'm getting pissed off because I want to play the game. But,
Oh no!
yeah, but I only go back half an hour at a time.
Like,
before I feel a bit
angry
bored.
blunners,
Yeah,
stupid
and then
game.
I
And
come
that's the
back
thing,
to it
like,
later.
what I found when I first started it is games where you're like rigs where you're in a cockpit, or like I used to play a lot of Wipeout and you're in a machine that's moving, was better than if you're a person walking around. If you're a person walking around, you don't have the bob sort of thing of you're walking, so it feels a bit
view
odd.
bobbing. That's what it's called.
Yeah, you don't have that, and I think like your eyes are telling you that you're moving, but your body knows you're not, and you do get that motion sickness a bit from there. But I think that's probably one of the big drawbacks, because for like games developers and publishers, if they make a VR game, you're automatically losing some of your potential audience who can't play VR because they get motion sickness. So I think I would definitely recommend, if you're interested in VR, make sure you've played on it first. Like if you've got a mate that's got it,
don't invest until you've tried. Exactly.
Don't buy expensive kit before you know whether
no.
you will suffer from the motion sickness, because you just don't know. I do know some people that are okay with it, and other people that literally, like my wife's tried to play a few VR games, and she'll put the headset on, she'll move forward a little bit, and then just take it off. Like, no, I can't do it. So I can't play that. It just makes me feel ill.
For me,
some people can't do it.
This was the one game that once I got used to it, it was fine. But this is the first game that took my breath out.
Oh,
yeah. That's why I've stayed away from that one.
The all I said is when I picked that up, I was so excited because I thought, this is going to be amazing in VR, and it is pretty good. The load times are absolute guff, but this game, I just thought I really don't want the first thing to be standing on the floor, pull the triggers and take off, because that might be what is the first thing where I go, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. And that was literally the first thing it suggested doing. It was like, right, pull the triggers to take off. So I pulled the triggers and I went really high, looking at the ground as I kept going up, and then I let go of the triggers and you just fall. And I genuinely went, shit, yeah.
I tried watching a movie in VR. Yeah, watching a movie in VR is like literally having a 100-foot screen in front of you. It is like being in a cinema. It's really, really good. You can get worlds.
I definitely think it's better doing that in a social setting, like when we have room with the TV on, because I have got, like, on the PlayStation, actually, if you're doing PlayStation VR, you can watch 3D Blu-rays on it. So if you have a 3D Blu-ray on PlayStation VR headset, you can watch that. But would you really watch a movie on your own with the headset on?
No,
I just don't know if I'd do that.
It's a social thing. It's really good. Yeah.
If you're sat around with a group of friends in a virtual space watching a movie on a giant screen, I think it's more likely, because I think things like Netflix, there's a Netflix VR thing on Oculus, and you're in
one
like
for
a
YouTube
log cabin
as well.
Yeah, there's a YouTube one. There's a Netflix one with a log cabin, but you can sign in to your Netflix account and you can sit in a virtual room and watch your Netflix login on there. So that's cool. But I've never actually just sat there. I'm like, oh, this is cool. It's novel that it works. And I put something on, but I've never actually sat down and watched a whole movie with a headset on, where I've got a big TV in my lounge. I'm just going to watch it. Just going to watch it on my actual TV. It's a bit of an odd option, but nice to know that the technology's there.
Definitely.
Yeah,
100%.
Cool.
So what is your, in terms of like the different sort of VR worlds that you go to, Rega, what would you say is one of like your favorite ones that you've been to? Is there some that you go back to because you just think that this is just incredible?
There are. I've got to try and think. There's so many I go to, Ollie. It's ridiculous. Obviously, when I do my reviews and stuff, I have like a favorites list. Let me go and grab them. Let me get. You can't see the list I've got. I've got a list in front of me, actually. So, oh, wow. I've actually got a couple on here. So, obviously, I've got the arcade where I am at the moment. There's one called the Cozy Boat. Tim, you saw that one. That's like a little boat in the sea. Mm-hmm. You know, really, 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 really comfortable on that. There's a fishing one where you can go fishing. There's putt-putt golf. It's like mini golf. So you can play mini golf. And that's really, really cool. Obviously Test Pilot, where you get to fly loads of different planes. Uno, obviously play Uno, the card game.
Is this the one you were saying off air earlier, that you sort of throw the card down and that becomes really big in the room? And
yeah, you throw it in the center and it goes, and then you can see it. So
that's amazing.
And there's like club worlds, so you can go like Club B, which has got like music and stuff, and it's generally pretty good. So be able to. There we go, close the menu. But yeah, there's loads. I mean, looking through my reviews on the channel is probably the best bet because all my good ones are in there.
Yeah.
I don't pick worlds that look not great. I take my time. I scout the location as well, so I will go there, have a wander around, and think, right, where do I film and stuff like that.
Yeah. Did you ever find? I can't remember if you said you did or not. But did you ever find a Silent Hill world?
Yes, there is one. It's on my list to do. I'm going to have to add it to my favourites to go and have a look at it, Tim. So I'll invite you, Triangle Face. I'll invite you along, Triangle Face. You can be my guest on that one. We're going to do that together.
That's great. I need to get myself like an avatar. I'm playing around with different avatars. I think my one I've got at the moment is Sephiroth.
Yes, which is whenever I see that, it's slightly terrifying. It's like, oh god.
I went to a gaming space. You could pick all the gaming avatars, and there's some really cool like Lin Kuei ones. There's like a Scorpion and a Sub-Zero, but for some reason they were massive. So I was there like,
they're
down,
really
big,
really old. Yeah, really old models. So the height was like they were like 9 foot tall, and I'm like, what the hell?
Amazing.
A couple of last VR questions. The one that's just come in actually. If you're new to VR chat, what VR chat games do you recommend?
If you're new, if you're new, it's best to if you've got a load of friends who play it, find some social games to play, like Cards Against Humanity, Uno, stuff like that. There's a Pictionary one as well. You can play Pictionary. So social games like that is what we normally do on a Friday night. We would do something like that. And then sometimes we just end up talking for like an hour or two, just standing around chatting. Because that's what you do sometimes.
Buildings with interactive stuff in is quite fun. Like if you're in a building that somewhere's got a pool table, and if you walk around chatting, then also say, let's play a game of pool, and you can just play.
You can play a game of pool. There's 8 Club is my home world, where there's 3 pool tables, so people can all play pool at the same time. It's so well optimized that when you play it, the balls are perfectly synced as well, so you can see where they're all going. Because sometimes some worlds are a bit unoptimized, but this one they really did well with it.
And then we've got a very serious question here. Someone wants to know: can you play strip poker in VR?
Probably, you probably can, but I haven't found it yet. Probably somewhere there.
Put some effort into that in Unity.
Someone will. If you could think of it, there'd probably be a world of it.
I don't know how that would work. If you like start taking your avatar's clothes off and just rips off the skin and reveals the skeleton, it probably won't be.
That would be slightly. No.
I'm absolutely fascinated by this idea of there being a Silent Hill world, man. Like, I'm all in for like terrifying experiences. Like, I enjoy the horror movies. It's that's not a big secret.
There are some horror worlds probably out there, Ollie, but obviously me not being a horror fan, I'm just like, nope.
Man, I would just love to. I mean, it just sounds like a nightmare, but a good nightmare that I would love to just. Yeah, if you find that world, man, make sure you make a video on it because
definitely.
Really cool.
Some of that. Sounds awesome.
I'm just going to chuck up this comment, and then with that, because there's not a lot of context there. I think this is going to be discussed on our next Uncensored. Somebody is watching EastEnders clips on the account that we all obviously have access to. I can honestly say it's not me. I have no idea. We'll have to discuss this on the next Uncensored. So
I think we do.
Follow us.
I think we need to
out because that will be a hot topic. I think next time.
I think it will. Dorbs.
I think it's Dorbs.
My guess is Dorbs.
I think it's Dorbs, but
he's not here to defend himself, so we can't really.
He's in the chat. I'm sure he'll defend himself in the chat.
I have been accused as well, so I think I'm second runner at the moment for some reason. I don't know what I've done to be a suspect. But
I think the latest, if anyone's interested, the latest video that was watched that spawned us to double check what was going on was something like best Phil Mitchell drunk clips.
The funny thing was, I didn't realise because I normally just have the one account. When I first logged in to start uploading videos and stuff, I didn't log out and back in again because I normally watch YouTube on my own channel.
No!
So I didn't realise I was signed in as IVR. And then I was putting stuff on for my kids, and then I was basically saying, "Who's watching this?" It's like Cocomelon and things like that. And, like, the 3 little pigs. It's like,
God,
I've been like putting it on for my daughters to watch YouTube.
Strangely explicit EastEnders.
Who is watching this?
Who's doing it now?
I mean, it's not us, is it? Because we're here. So if they're doing it right now, there's that absolved us 3.
Maybe
I
it's
don't know.
Ryan.
It just
It's
comes up
between
on
Ryan
like
and
your
Dawes,
views.
isn't
It's
it?
weird.
Inside job.
That's
This is
mad.
like one of our Among Us games. It's a self-report. Ryan's going, he's watching this, and maybe it's him.
Don't mess with Phil Mitchell.
Don't mess with Phil.
Oh,
Mitchell.
amazing.
Amazing.
Great stuff.
Amazing.
Oh
There we
my
go.
god.
We'll
Dear
have
me.
to come back to this subject in a future stream. I think
Yes,
we'll find out
I
what's
think
going
we
on.
do. We need to bottom
There's
it out.
something. We need to figure out what's going on. Right. Well, yes. Well, thank you for going all through that lovely VR content. As we discussed earlier, we have one of our regular segments for the show, and that is the Waller's Remasters. In honor of one of our favourite guests, Rick Waller, who likes to join us. So Waller's Remasters. And what would be your Waller's Remasters then, Rega?
Wow. This is going to go back to my early PC gaming days when I was a wee lad, little guy. I think it'd be the very first strategy game actually ever made, Dune 2. Because that game really deserves a remaster. There were some people trying to remake it, but it didn't get anywhere. Yeah, very, very difficult game. I did stream it, and I got to the last level, and I can't complete it. It's that hard, even now. It's just ridiculous.
That does sound like the sort of game that someone like Limited Run would pick up and actually sort of release a version of, because they're not strangers to going back to those types of games. And
it's very hard to get the rights for, though, Ollie, because it was Westwood Studios who then got bought by EA. So I think EA may still have the rights to it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit of a messy one to find. So
because
it's difficult.
The one that I'm buzzing for, which I've got my order is in, it's paid for. I've just got to wait for them to make it. They always take about quarters worth to make it before they send you the game. Is they're doing Blade Runner, the PC port.
Oh, what?
And that's coming to console.
I never got around to. I need to get that. I never got around to playing it. I'm gonna have to see that. It's amazing.
It is amazing. So to be able to play that on console, I can't wait. Cannot wait. It's meant to be.
Have they cleaned it up a bit? Then have they cleaned it up like the graphics and stuff, or is it just straight emulation?
I think they have, but it's not. It's not like a complete remaster. So I know some people are a bit pissed about it because they think they should have spent the time and the money doing it. But apparently it looks great. Apparently it runs great.
Okay.
So I don't care.
That's what you want, though, isn't it? You want it to run great. You don't want it to be running like garbage. So yeah.
Exactly. So I'm that's if they've done it for Blade Runner, there's me holding out hope that they might be able to do it for Dune 2 for you.
Yeah. That would be amazing. Just see what happens with that. And I think, probably another space game I played when I was 9 years old called Privateer, but that's going to be a very difficult one as well because, I don't know who owns that because the company who owned it went bust. Mm-hmm. And now the creator of it, Chris Roberts, is making Star Citizen. So God knows where that's going to go if anyone wants to remake that. So that would be a tough one to do. Yes, I'm very old school PC gamer. Oh, what's this? Battletech. Yep. Okay. Westwood Games. Prototype Dune 2 is MechWarrior Arctic. Ooh. Okay, that sounds amazing. I may have to someone note that down for me. I'm going to go and look that up when we finish.
We will get that one noted down.
I'm going to have to go and dig that up because that sounds absolutely amazing. So yeah, anything with big stompy mechs is awesome. Stuff like that, like MechWarrior was amazing as well.
Never really got into MechWarrior, but I always liked the look of it. Like, always looked like a cool game.
It's also stupidly hard. Okay, that's nice to know. You watch me start raging and throwing things.
Who doesn't love a bit of rage? It's got to happen every now and then. I think.
Every so often, yeah.
Yeah, almost impossible.
Like, drop the F-bomb every so often. Always. And then my neighbours are like, "Are you okay?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm just having a tough game. Don't worry."
Slightly less serious question from Ali, but given that there was a copy of Mean Machine Sega magazine and a pint of Strongbow, I'm going to throw it out there just on the off chance that you can eat chicken nuggets in VR.
Not here, but I think there's a pizza over here.
Man.
There is a. Let me go grab the camera. Let me go find it.
The one thing I found when I've done stuff is one thing that would be better is like having a good
pizza.
seat to sit down. There you go. Because like I was playing it stood up. It's like I just want to be but you want to line up your avatar with like your actual sofa where you are, and then sit down and get up and move around.
If you have full body tracking, you can do that, Tim.
Wow.
Yeah,
and then you can and it's hilarious. So I've seen people with full body, and they're literally like lying down, and then they're just moving along like lying down, and you're like, you're sat on your sofa, aren't you? And they're like, yeah. It's like, you lazy bastard. But then I can do the same. I can sit down, tell the Quest that I'm in stationary mode, and then tell my avatar to stand up and still be standing. Which is what I do when I'm flying fighter jets and driving cars and things like that. Because otherwise I'll get motion sick. So I will sit down and do it that way.
Okay. Did you have any other remasters, or was that your?
No, that's pretty much what
pitches?
I could think of. Yeah.
I think we've got time because we've just got to the hour point. We will wrap up fairly soon.
Is my controller drifting?
Last segment we have is the Liam's Love to Hate.
Oh, okay. Bear with me while I fix my camera.
Introduce that new segment. So we will. What is a game, series, or franchise that you keep coming back to, but you kind of hate it? You can't.
It has to be Subnautica.
Okay.
I have a massive fear of deep water.
Okay.
But I really enjoy it. Like, I'm like, oh, it's so cool. I can build a base underwater. It's really cool. And I'll be like swimming, and then I'll get to a part where there's a big drop off, and I'm like, should I really go down there? I'm slightly terrified. Yeah.
We just literally segued straight back into VR there.
But you can play it in VR, but I haven't tried it.
I was about to say that, like, one thing I really love is, like, I really like playing horror games in VR. Talked about quite a lot on the channel before. But there is that thing, it's like, it is actually generally quite terrifying sometimes when you do it. It's like, but it's so impressive. I was like, I really just want to keep it.
One of the worlds I reviewed,
it's kind of horrible at the same time.
It was a world I reviewed a couple of weeks back, Tim, and it was in the ocean.
Yeah.
And there was a scene where I had to jump in the water, and there was a boy, and there was loads of fish. And I was like, oh, fucking hell, I got to do this. I need to get the camera in there. So I jumped to the water, and I'm like, I'm really terrified while doing this. So I'm setting the camera up. And then this barracuda goes past me, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ! scared like the hell out of me. And I was just like, oh. So that was quite an experience to film.
Cool stuff.
That's awesome.
Right. Thank you very much for all your time. Thanks for coming on and joining us and chatting about all things VR and your channel. If anyone wants to give Rega some love, check out links to all his socials in the description. Got links to his YouTube, Twitter, and then you've got a card code with links to various stuff on there. So go and give his channel a view and give him a sub, and check out the VR world reviews that he's doing. It's really cool. Really,
it should be one out this Sunday. I need to film it yet.
I will have to come and hang out with you in VR sometime soon, because it's good fun. I'll have to come check.
Well, like I said, Tim, like I said, Triangle Face, we do Friday night meetups. So people do know me in Telegram, and they want to do meetup, let me know, and I will add you to the Telegram group.
Yeah,
and we can do stuff.
Amazing.
Come and check that out.
Thank you to all the new names we've seen in the chat. It's very cool to see some new names. We're seeing this on a sort of regular basis now. So thank you very much for coming by, stopping by, and showing us some love. And I know we sort of touched on it at the beginning, Rega, but I think we'd speak for everyone when we say, we're very grateful to have you on, and we're very grateful that you're that you're part of the retro gaming community. You've been with us probably since day one, I think, actually.
Pretty close near the start, yeah. I think Triangle Face told me, he's like, oh, come watch these streams. And I was like, okay. So I watched, and I was like, this is really cool. And you guys have had some awesome guests. So, yeah, definitely subscribe, keep watching.
So it's a real pleasure to have you on, because you've supported us throughout all of it. So thank you very much for coming on.
Cool. Right. Thanks very much, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See you later.